the legal appeal to overturn exceptionally lengthy sentences handed down to 16 individuals involved in nonviolent climate protests in the UK hinges upon philosophical tenets of prominent thinkers. These activists, participants in the 2022 Just Stop Oil campaign advocating for a moratorium on North Sea oil exploration, received sentences ranging from 15 months to 5 years imprisonment. The severity of these sentences, unprecedented in the context of nonviolent civil disobedience, forms the crux of the appeal. Central to the appeal is the argument that the sentences are disproportionate and violate fundamental principles of justice and proportionality. The defense contends that the punishment inflicted far outweighs the nature of the offenses, emphasizing the peaceful and nonviolent nature of the protests. They argue that the sentences, particularly the 5-year term, serve not as a deterrent but as a chilling effect on future activism, stifling legitimate dissent and the expression of crucial concerns regarding climate change. The appeal draws upon the philosophies of various prominent thinkers, including, but not limited to Henry David Thoreau, whose essay, Civil Disobedience, directly addresses the moral obligation to disobey unjust laws, and Mahatma Gandhi, whose philosophy of satyagraha, emphasizing nonviolent resistance, deeply influenced the tactics employed by the protesters. The defense intends to showcase how the actions of the protesters align with these philosophical frameworks, highlighting their commitment to nonviolence and their intention to bring attention to a critical matter of public concern. The case spotlights the longest sentence ever imposed for nonviolent protest in the UK, the 5-year sentence given to Roger Hallam, co-founder of Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil, for his involvement in planning roadblocks on the M25. Other prominent cases included in the appeal are those of Larch Maxey, sentenced to 3 years for tunneling beneath a road leading to an Essex oil refinery, and Phoebe Plummer, sentenced to 2 years for throwing tomato soup onto Van Gogh's sunflowers at the National Gallery. These actions, while arguably disruptive, were undeniably nonviolent, a point repeatedly emphasized by the defense. The appeal also confronts the precedent set by a previous ruling 2 years prior, where Judge Carr rejected an appeal for Morgan Troland and Marcus Decker, 2 Just Stop Oil protesters who received sentences of 3 years and 2 years and 7 months respectively, sentences considered the longest for nonviolent civil disobedience at the time. The defense argues that the current sentences significantly exceed even this established precedent, underscoring the disproportionate and potentially punitive nature of the judicial response. This escalation, they claim, warrants a reevaluation of the sentencing guidelines and a reconsideration of the balance between maintaining public order and protecting fundamental rights to freedom of expression and peaceful protest within a democratic society grappling with the urgent cla. The appeal challenges the courts to engage meaningfully with the philosophical underpinnings of civil disobedience and to consider whether these severe sentences are truly just and proportionate to the acts committed. The core argument rests on the proposition that the severity of the sentences, particularly in light of the nonviolent nature of the protests, creates a dangerous precedent that threatens the fundamental right to peaceful protest and undermines the principles of a just and equitable society.